Welcome to the first episode of Joystick Maverick. I'm your host, Ernie Hawkins, aka Ernie UXD on social, and I'm joined today by my buddy, my partner in crime, Dominic Ervin. What's up,
Hey,
man?
what's up? My name is Dominic Ervin, aka El Dizza, DYZA on Twitter and social media. Happy to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. It feels good. That was a Band-Aid rip right there. I don't know how
Yeah.
we're going to start the episode. Like, I've heard people be like, all right, bang, bang, or like, welcome to the whatever. I think that works. We're going to feel our way through it. If you
Yeah.
guys are watching this first episode, I'm sorry it's the worst episode. So, because we're just
It
going to
won't be that
figure
bad.
it out. That's right. So, we're just going to kind of talk through a couple of topics, I think, right? So,
Yeah,
first on
yeah.
the list today, I loved it. I want to start with the easy one. We're going to go to the hard one next. Falcon and Winter Soldier, man.
Yeah, dude. Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yes. It came rolling off of WandaVision and had that little bit of in-between week with WandaVision on Assembled, the making of WandaVision as kind of a gap filler, right? Which was really nice at Disney, because they got to have something new every week, but also I think it kind of fleshes out, hey, this is what all the effort that's going into these series is. It's not just kind of a BS show. We are making this a full production. And then immediately, here we go. We got Falcon and Winter Soldier, which should pick up, I think, right after the end of Endgame. We're just seeing the life of what life is like after there's no Tony Stark, there's no Steve Rogers. It's
essentially being broke. Like,
yeah,
that's like the first thing that hit me in the face was like, none of the Avengers pay. Like, these guys save the world time after time again, and like Tony Stark in a will or something can't just be like, hey, take care of these people.
Couldn't bequeath anything. He's just like, I'm
Sam
pretty
Wilson
sure
can't even get a loan. Like,
yeah, dude. So like the worst, like, so the episode kicks off and it's very like solemn. You got our Anthony Mackie putting on his his suit jacket, and I'm like, oh man, they better not kick this off with like
with a funeral.
Steve Rogers' funeral.
Yeah.
I was gonna be so.
I was super concerned about that.
I was like, man, I didn't cry at the end of WandaVision because it was too like movie of the week for me at the end with the kids. But if they kicked it off with a funeral, I was gonna weep like a baby.
Yeah.
Like it was not going to be a good look on a Friday night. But they didn't, which was nice. But to your point, man, you fast forward a couple of minutes, after this incredible jet fight scene where he's trying to kick the shit out of George St. Pierre. I mean,
yeah,
George St. Pierre can do no wrong right now.
Yeah. How about that though? Like, you've never really seen Falcon kind of by himself be Falcon. Yeah. Like, you saw a little bit of it in his first appearance in Winter Soldier, right? And then like you saw him with Rhodey in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, but and then you saw a little bit with Ant-Man.
A little bit with like a little bit of him fighting Ant-Man, but like you've never seen like him like, I know what I'm doing, like I'm in the zone and I'm doing that, and like all the acrobatics and stuff that he does, it was really well done.
Which I think it kind of leads us to like this broke ass moment. Like, he's doing all this incredible stuff. He's on the comms with our military. He's basically meeting up with like secret ops stuff. And even my wife was like, Michelle, she was like, hey, maybe he's making good money, right? And I'm like, yeah, I would assume. And like 10 minutes later, no, he definitely is not. It's like,
he's like Bubba Gump Shrimp from Forrest Gump, dude. Like,
I mean, are you kidding me? And I think we all mentally are going like, there's got to be a check or whatever, as much as Stark is making. And then on top of that, like, he's always talking about how he makes it look cooler and he pays for all this stuff, but he never like, there's no real payroll. Like, it felt weird. And then like, I think with the little subtle like white guy jabbing like an African-American person, that bank loan officer being like, what do I know you from? LSU football? Like, oh no, dude, no. Just talk normal. No.
Yeah.
And
then using the fact that he's been gone for 5 years as a, you don't have any credit history. Like, Miz was dead for 5 years. Like billions of people dead for 5 years. And like, nah, it's cool. You don't have any.
You don't think they figured that out? How to handle that? I mean, cool. And I wish, like, if there was like, okay, it's been 16 days since everybody blipped back. Okay, maybe I'll give you some leeway, but like, you just the guy saves the world multiple times over. What do you? I mean, at least try. Like, if there's anybody that's going to earn enough goodwill to like, okay, we're gonna try it out. Now, granted, this isn't Shark Tank. It's not Mark Cuban going up there and cutting a check. Like, my man Falcon, I got you. Now, if they want to throw that at the end, I do want some royalties for it. Okay, that's my idea. You heard it here first. But that whole scene, it was cringy, man. There's few scenes in movies or TV that I just want to like regress into my couch. And
Yeah,
that definitely was
that one was rough to watch. Well, they both had that. Like, so like you have, Sam trying to like adjust to coming back and then kind of coming back to the way that he left, and still trying to take care of his family. And then you have this whole side of Bucky, who's only known war for his entire adult career for 70 years. And like when he's talking to the older Asian guy and the older Asian guy's like, yeah, my son died. And you just saw the scene 5 minutes earlier. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
no, it's not this kid.
dude. I'll tell you right now that they hit me like lightning. And I was like, oh no. And I said it out loud. I'm like, oh, that sucks. And Michelle's like, what sucks? I'm like, you didn't just get the obvious connection.
Yeah.
You blew that dude's kid away. Like, just because you made eye contact with him. Like, that guy was just trying to have a good time while on a work trip and couldn't get the door open fast enough.
And my wife asked when we were watching it, she said he can't tell him. Like, he's trying to cross all these names off of his list to atone, but he's built a relationship with this guy. Telling him is not going to do any good.
Yeah, not at all.
And like how he went back and almost told him, and I was like, dude, you can't do it. Like, the guy's already healing at this point. You can't just go back and rip open the wound and be like, yeah, I was the guy who did it. My bad.
Pocket sand right in your eyes. Like, it's like, yeah, no, there's no way. And I made the comment, that it's definitely, if that's a form of penance, I think, of like, there's one way where like, hey, I'm a real person and I'm not the Winter Soldier, with the senator in the car, which was great. Yeah. But like, for that guy, I think there's kind of, you just got to own it, and you got to try to not necessarily replace the son that guy's lost, but you got to at least put the time in to make sure, look out for that guy. Now, can he do it for that whole little Rolodex he had in his pocket? No. Yeah. But like, it's definitely, I think it's a complete flip and a nice little callback to like, to Captain America, Steve Rogers' little book of like things to look up. Right, it's a completely different coming back from being unfrozen. I need to look at who Nirvana is.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye.
Exactly, Miles Davis. Right, and like look at Star Wars. Whereas for Bucky, it's like, let me look at all this death.
Right, everyone that I've killed over the last 90 years.
Yeah, I mean I'm glad they didn't alphabetize that list. That would have been too obvious. Like, Aardvark Johnson murder.
But I mean, I love. So there's a comic book that's out. It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
And there's like 5 or 6 issues. It came out in 2019. I'm reading it on Marvel Unlimited. Because you kind of get, I think it's like 6 months. You get issues back 6 months. Nice. And I think there's 5 issues out of this Falcon and Winter Soldier book. And we know that Baron Zemo is the bad guy in the show from Civil War.
Yep.
And this book also has Baron Zemo as the villain. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if if they're looking at paralleling it, because it like the Bucky in the comic book looks exactly like Sebastian Stan, and Falcon looks just like Anthony Mackie, and it looks cool. And like they have this kid in there called the Natural who wants to be Captain America and like idolizes Captain America. And he's like a young kid. And then you have like the reveal at the end of this episode where there's like a new Captain America, which is insane.
Like that in and of itself was bonkers. And I mean, obviously if you watch the trailers, you knew that was going to come. Right. But I feel like I'm going to be way off here. Spoiler alert, I'm going to be way off. I feel like there was another like Captain America a couple of years ago that ended up being like a crazy white supremacist, like just a complete opposite of what Captain America needed to be. And suddenly, in the comics at least, Steve Rogers comes back and kicks his ass and takes the mantle again.
Yeah,
that's not happening, folks. Spoiler alert, going. And you can catch up now, the rest of you. But like, so I really hope that doesn't happen. That was
like U.S. agent, and this is who U.S. agent is, and like he's some some crazy Nazi. That would be terrible.
Dude, it would be the worst. However, I would love to see that guy get his ass handed to him.
Yeah,
like, I think we all would.
Bucky and Falcon.
Yeah.
But all in all, I liked it. It's a slow burn. You know, WandaVision was also slow burn at the beginning of it. Yeah. I know WandaVision threw a lot of people off because it was like not like, it didn't feel like an MCU production. This absolutely felt like an MCU production. Very, very similar to how Winter Soldier and how Civil War all started. So I'm stoked about it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that we're getting like, we got like WandaVision week, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then we get Falcon and Winter Soldier until May, and then Black Widow in May. Yeah. And then we get a bit of a break, and then Loki in June. So like these things just go back to back to back, which is awesome.
And they're doing that. I think they're doing that leapfrog where after each one of those, it's an episode of Assembled, the making of whatever was previous. And I think that's going. I think what is it? Who is coming after Loki? Is it Shang-Chi?
I think it's Eternals and then Shang-Chi.
Okay, because
both of those are going to be anything about Eternals. I'm super stoked about Eternals. Neil Gaiman's run of Eternals is so good.
I haven't read it. I want.
You got to read it. It's on Marvel Unlimited. You have to read it. It's really good.
I think one of my favorite things. It's been one of my like ever since I was a kid. I started to notice this trend. And if you see an advertisement, like if you're just washed over with ads for something, that movie will end up sucking. No matter what it is, there is no exception to this rule. And the proof is in the pudding with Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, I didn't care for Wonder Woman 84.
Ads, and it was weird, man. I mean, I watched it and I was like pumped about watching Wonder Woman. We don't have to get too deep into it, but there was just so much left wanting. Like Cheetah, she could have been a character that went on for ages. It was just the way she was kind of created and developed was too quick and fast. I think towards the end, there was a beginning was a great 80s motif, and then it went to the desert for some reason in like a weird jungle. Weird. Just bizarre. So like this, not having an advertisement for like the Eternals already, except for like Kumail Nanjiani, like just being completely jacked on Men's Health cover. Like that's all you really need.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it with Chris Pratt. Guardians of the Galaxy was a smash. Now you've got Kumail just being a beast. Sign me up, coach.
Yeah.
I mean, even this last season of Silicon Valley, like
you can see it. He's jump, like dude. Big. And I was like, whoa, like, okay, so like I get it. Like he was training up for Eternals. It was just like when Chris Pratt did Guardians of the Galaxy and then like in the middle of Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And he comes back. And Adam Scott's like, what did you do? And he's like, I should stop drinking beer.
Yeah. It's like, oh. I mean, I kind of feel that way now. It's like, okay, that makes perfect sense. And it just lets you know how much he was drinking. Like that's all it really says. So I'm excited for what's coming next, and I think at least for the Marvel / Disney lineup, that's a huge benefit we've got of them kind of punting during COVID, and now we've got this kind of roll at least through like towards the holiday season. So I'm looking forward to what's coming next for that. And next week we get to talk about the next episode. So that's even better.
Yeah, which is dope.
We get kind of an at least a little teaser.
I like a little play-by-play.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
But the big one, the Big Fish, came out in 2017.
Yeah, dude.
Got done right in 2021.
Yeah, dude.
The Snyder Cut, Justice League. Yeah, dude.
I watched that whole movie in one sitting, and I just couldn't believe that movie existed. And we didn't get that movie in 17. Like,
oh man,
I can't believe how different it was. Like Ashley was watching, she was like, I don't understand. Why didn't we have this movie in 17?
Right.
Can you imagine the world building that we would have had in the last 4 years had that movie come out?
It's complete night and day, man. I mean, granted, I'm a little perturbed by the like 4:3. You know,
I hated that aspect ratio.
I hate it because I get it. Okay, if it was any kind of effects that were involved in whatever money HBO put back into the movie or Warner Brothers, it was cheaper to cut out this much side of visual effects. I get it.
So mad.
That's really what that is. It's called free panels. I create a vision, okay, saving $50 million in special effects. But I mean, it was just so much better. I think even like having watched the extended edition so many times over, there was clear like little extra written jabs or lines that just they felt weird in the original, the Joss Whedon version,
Yeah.
that weren't there, and it just held the scene longer, but it worked because it just didn't need to be like this Marvel-esque kind of
Right.
wit in the middle of like a solemn scene. You don't need that because it's DC. DC is brooding, it's dark. And instead we got a longer time to like develop the characters for like the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman, etc.
I mean, I love what they did to Cyborg in this movie. Like, I mean, you gave Ray Fisher a background, or Victor Stone. Ray Fisher's the actor.
Yeah.
Victor Stone a background, and I mean, Barry going back in time at the end of it sets up Flashpoint, which we know we're getting a Flashpoint movie, and that wasn't even in the first one. I'm just like, okay, we've had this movie, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, all right, I was like 2 hours into it, and then you kind of get the scene where they all decide that they're going to bring back Superman, which is the logical closing point of one movie, which is awesome.
Yeah,
and then you go to the next scene where Martha Kent's talking to Lois Lane, and at the end of that, the eyes glow red, and she turns into Martian Manhunter, and I'm like, yeah, this is incredible.
I got chills. You just said I got chills.
Like, and then the last hour and a half that movie is a non-stop action thrill ride, culminating in Barry Allen going back in time through the Speed Force and black suit Superman coming up and just sunning Steppenwolf. I mean, sunning him in front of Darkseid.
I am not impressed. Just, boom! Oh! That was, I think, the bigger. There's so much to break down. One of the best breakdowns I saw over this past couple of days. Leslie Jones. I got to shout out to Leslie Jones.
Yeah, her tweet.
Dude, her
live tweet was so good.
It was 6.5 hours for her to watch this 4-hour movie because she kept rewinding to like say some. It was perfect though. Like she breaks down all this the weird awkwardness. She even like, I mean, she hit all the things I think even like your average fan would, or even your person who's never watched these movies would be like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. One of those being like the yodeling fish lady who sings as Aquaman gets into the water and swims away.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Bruce Wayne. Better start piping a melody. He ain't here just for the fish, folks. Like or whatever. But like, there's so many different layers. But for me, the big layer was Darkseid, obviously, and Desaad.
Yeah.
And
Granny Goodness was there.
Yeah. Oh, that was that. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Granny Goodness is right next to them.
I was looking for like a big woman. Like
because like if you watch like Young Justice and everything, like she's like a big old lady. Reminds me a lot of like Kathy Bates.
Yes. Like, could you imagine Kathy Bates?
Like Kathy Bates is Granny Goodness.
Oh my god. And that's what made me think it might have been like Big Barda or something like that because she was so tall. But at the same time, that's, to me, that shows a hierarchy. And like, Steppenwolf in the original, the Whedon version, it's just him, and you feel like he's this big bad and this ultimate presence. But like in the Zack Snyder version, he's kind of a bitch.
Yeah,
like he's what I call a BAB, a bitch ass bitch. Like he's trying to earn daddy's love, and he just really wants to come back home. And can I please? And then decides like, no, you can't come home. You own 50,000 more worlds. He only did 100,000. Like that whole dialogue. It's so great because it's just it triggers like that he is just the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the rest of these big mythological like villains.
Well, this is like the first time that we've gotten a huge big bad in a DC movie that wasn't the Chris Nolan Batman movies. Like ever since Chris Nolan Batman movies.
Yeah,
like we got Man of Steel and we got Zod, and Zod is a very classic Superman villain, and that's great. And that was perfect for Man of Steel 1 for that world building. But like then we got like Suicide Squad, and the villain was Enchantress's brother, and we're like, okay, the Suicide Squad has a ton of great villains.
Yeah,
and then like we got Green Lantern, and it was Hector Hammond, and set up Sinestro, but like just do Sinestro. Like, I mean, like he's the best villain, right? So like, and then we get the Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman, which was incredible. Like that was like you had Ares and all that stuff, which is great world building. It was very much like Man of Steel, which is world building for Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
and then we get Batman v Superman, and it's like we start to see this kind of decline where they're trying to fit too much shit in there.
Yeah.
And then like you have Doomsday show up and it's the death of Superman. And then we get Justice League 2017 and Steppenwolf, and Darkseid's name dropped one time. And you're like, who the fuck is Steppenwolf? No one cares about Steppenwolf.
And people still think Darkseid is just referring to the darker side of something, not
Right.
like an actual individual.
So like in this one, and like the biggest, like one of the biggest, and we'll talk about my favorite scene of the whole thing in a moment, but one of the biggest things that really sold it for me was when they go back in time and they show the like them invading and fighting the Amazonians and the gods and the lanterns. It's a Darkseid. It's not Steppenwolf, which is what it was in 17.
And the fact that they were able to really jack up Darkseid, like, so it took all of them to try to do that. Whereas in the Whedon version, it's just Steppenwolf only, right? And so it doesn't really quite make sense. And of course, the mustache is gone in this version. You don't have that weird jacked up upper lip. It's just Henry Cavill being Henry Cavill. But no, the whole thing beginning to end was great. Even just the Amazonians protecting their box. A little bit of Willem Dafoe slipping in, with his crazy long. He looked insane.
He looked insane.
From that tight ponytail in Aquaman to like this, I've lost my mind and slowly deteriorating Willem Dafoe. Like, that was insane. And of course, even Leslie Jones is like hoping Amber Heard gets killed, and then she's upset that Aquaman saves her. Spoiler alert, she made it to the Aquaman movie 4 years ago, but
which is after the Justice League movie. So
and that to me is hilarious, because we see like Aquaman floating up to like a statue of what's his name? Oh my god, couldn't bother me. King of the Seas, not Poseidon. Anyway,
Neptune,
thank you. And it's just like this statue, so it's very like foreshadowing to what's going to happen later on. And we didn't get a lot of that back and forth. But like for the original version, suddenly Aquaman just has a trident and he's got his armor. Like, where did he get that stuff? Was he really chatting it up with the Atlanteans? No, it's friggin' his guy dropping off some gear. Like, hey, take up your mom's weapon. Here's a T-shirt. Go get it, Tiger. And like, sends him on his way. Like, there was so much left out. And even like, I guess I don't want to get too far ahead, but like, I loved all that building, and I loved the little things that I even thought was a little weird, that I got it without reading the second and third synopsis that were recently released. I was like, oh, why does Lois Lane have a pregnancy test in her drawer? There's so much stuff that we were going to get and now we're missing out on, but like, so little things like that.
Right. So let's talk about Nightmare. So it was obviously revealed in a trailer that Jared Leto was coming back for a scene as the Joker. Never would have thought it would have been the last scene in the movie. Totally would have thought it was going to be just kind of like peppered in. That scene is super polarizing to a lot of people. I loved it. I loved that.
I haven't gone a deep dive. Right, I'm trying to kind of shield myself a little bit from, except for Leslie Jones's opinion. But
so Jared Leto's Joker portrayal has been polarizing because of Suicide Squad. So I was one of the people that was like, okay, I dig this kind of take on the Joker, of this like young Joker gangster style. And like there was this kind of undertone, which David Ayer said no, but like kind of didn't say no, that Joker may have been Jason Todd, who like was supposedly killed by the Joker. And then you watch this scene and the way that he reacts when he says like an adopted son, and then that whole scene where he's like,
kill you,
and he's like and Batfleck's like, be very careful with the next thing that you say, and then he's like, that's not very careful. And
I loved it.
And when he like flips the card out and he's like, a truce, like, all you have to do is rip this in half and I'll be happy to discuss with you in any way you want why you sent the boy wonder to do a man's job. And it's like the film grain is blurring behind him when he's saying that, and then as soon as he says a man jobs, it focuses and you can just see his, like, the menace in his eyes. I was like, dude, this is amazing. I was so stoked by it.
I'm glad he got redemption.
I did too.
I really do. I think to your point, if it was Jason Todd again, more world building, it could have been more layers that we didn't get. If it was Jason Todd, that would have been bone chilling. But I even liked his portrayal because it gave so many homages to the previous iterations, right? With the tuxedo and that whole scene, or like and even in the comics, it reveals his 3 different Jokers.
Yeah, so that came out last year. So I've only read one, and it's really cool. Like you have the 3 Jokers, and like one's the Killing Joke Joker, and one's like the super genius crime boss syndicate, and then it's really cool. And like the DC universe, like have you read DC Metal at all?
Skimmed it. I haven't watched. I haven't.
So like,
I just know about the Joker Who Laughs, or the Batman Who Laughs.
The Batman Who Laughs, which that whole storyline's really cool. And then like you have DC's Death Metal, which just came out last year, which is like, Superman looks like he was in Twisted Sister, and like Batman is like, jacked and has guns and his spikes and everything. It's really cool. You should take a look. But like
we could have gotten to that eventually.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then like you have the whole Injustice side of things, like Injustice Gods Among Us, which was
I did read that.
Which is essentially that story. Lois Lane gets killed by the Joker. Superman blows up Lois Lane gets killed by the Joker and blows up Metropolis. Superman goes crazy, kills the Joker, and then is like, you know what? I'm just going to take over the world because I'm Superman and you can't stop me. So
he stepped over the line, and then I'd like him just laying waste to that army, taking all their guns, and being like, now what? To me, those moments we're going to miss out on, right? Same thing with like, if we can get Flashpoint, at least get us, which sounds like we are
going to get Flashpoint.
Michael Keaton signed on.
Michael Keaton.
Can't wait.
Michael Keaton. I can't wait as Michael Keaton. Like, I just want him to stand up, like with the bat signal behind him.
Even if he's just old Bruce, or like, and if you can get, what's his name, the guy from He's Walking Dead,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Thank you. If you can get Jeffrey Dean Morgan to play Thomas Wayne, as with that big red bat symbol on his chest. I mean, there's so many degrees. And Batman Beyond, we got Iron Man tech. We can make a Batman Beyond.
I would love Batman Beyond with Old Man Keaton as old Bruce and a young Terry McGinnis. Like, that would be incredible. Like, my whole thing about with Flashpoint is who's going to play Zoom. Like, it's got to be somebody cool. And it's got to be somebody that's very similar in age to Barry, to Ezra.
Timothy Chalamet just plays Zoom.
Timothy Chalamet could play Zoom.
You know what I'm saying?
Timothy Chalamet could totally play Zoom because he even looks kind of like Ezra Miller.
He's got them pointy features. Yeah. He just looks like everything he's been in, he's kind of been the hero, or like, people want to like him. I want him to be a dickhead in the movie.
Dude, I'm all about that.
Have him just vibrate a hand through somebody's chest real quick. Just give me the
I went to high school with that Flash. You know that?
I didn't know you went to. Did he go to Granby?
Yeah, he went to Granby.
That's bonkers.
He was a year behind me.
That's crazy. I knew he's from the 757.
Yeah,
he's got a tattoo down here in the side. Michelle, my wife, she was like, I was like, hey, the Flash got married. She's like, we at the Who. I'm like, oh, this pretty lady. So she pulls up Instagram, like, oh, she's cute. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's from 757. I was like, how do you know that? And she pulls up a picture. It's just him like showing off his tat. I'm like, oh man. Yeah, what a small world. Come on, man.
He went to Granby. He was a super nerd in high school. Like, he went to governor's school and did all the art stuff. Like, he's in a great. He's
still
line.
A super nerd, bro.
Yeah,
he's just so super now. Barry Allen. Barry Allen, the fastest man alive.
Yeah,
that's nuts. What a small world. That's why I know this is going to be a great show. Yeah. we're gonna get Grant Gust up here,
right? Like, hey man, I went to high school with you. You don't know who I am, but like, we went to high school together.
Dear Grant Gust, I know everybody says this to you in your Instagram. I was thinking about like running bits we could do, and I've always I think at the end of this, I want us to pick who we're gonna bump for next time. Like, oh, we ran out of time. We had to bump Henry Cavill. I'll see you next time.
Right?
So that one time we're like, oh, we can't. We got plenty of time, and then it'd be great. But no, man, This is fun. I'm definitely enjoying the crap out of this. I think this to me is like the beginning of something beautiful. But we get to kick it off with two great things. It's start of a brand new series with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
We got a little bit of late gift, but a nice gift from Zack Snyder.
We have stuff coming up too. I mean, we have Kong versus Godzilla in a week.
Shoot, yeah.
We got Mortal Kombat in April, which looks incredible. I cannot wait to talk about Mortal Kombat.
Oh man.
We got Black Widow. We got more Falcon and Winter Soldier. We have Loki, Eternals, Shang-Chi. And then we have
crazy game slates coming up. I mean, we got EA Sports is coming back for college football.
Yep.
They haven't. When was the last time that came out? 2014. I mean,
no. Before 2007 was the last NCAA football game.
Really? No, I don't even see NCAA in the name. I think it's just called college now.
I think it's
so
just
they're going to have real teams. Is it just going to be Ernie and the Brownies, or going to from Fort Wayne, Texas, or whatever?
Right.
I don't even think that's
Tiger Woods is coming back to golf games in 2K
awesome.
And signed a huge deal with 2K Games to do games with them, which is super dope.
That's nuts. So now I've got to try to get these consoles to be able to play these games.
Yeah, you do, man. So you can talk about them.
I do like the fact that I'm starting so behind that each week I can be like, hey man, guess we got something. Hey, sweet. We are the everyman.
Yeah.
We're goofy dudes who just like to shoot the breeze. I'm going to try to see if we can't get some guests in, some people who are in the industry, just your average guys like us or gals that are in the industry. And just try to see if we can't get them to talk about topics. I think one of the bigger things that I noticed, and one of the reasons I'm really excited we're starting this up, is that I took a look around and just gaming culture and realized I don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah.
I like, for me, back in middle school, high school, I went to one of those first Halo tournaments, and it was life-changing because I was like, man, how are these guys so good? They always know when the sniper rifles are going to appear. Well, it's because they had stopwatches glued on their controller, and they knew every 2 minutes it would reset. And from that moment, I was like, oh, there's little tips and tricks and things you can cut. So I got into it, worked at GameStop for ages. Obviously, me and you work for a place that has a fruit in the title. But I now step back in, and there's things that haven't changed. People still throw out all kinds of crazy insults to each other on a headset. But at the same time, I don't know what a sweat is. I don't know what a big or little, hey, you got any of these? Even just watching Fortnite videos, how do they build that crap? I still can't do it. I'm a faraway shooter guy, but I want to dive back in and find out. And I'm so curious about the world of esports, because it used to be something that was joked about, and everybody says that, but now it's gotten so big that I think even Madden had $1 million purse last year or something close to that.
Insane. I mean, a 16-year-old won millions of dollars playing Fortnite. It's that whole world has evolved. Back when you had fighting games were the main, esports things. You had the Daigo Umehara versus Justin Wong moment where, Daigo parried an entire Chun-Li super, and it was filmed on a potato phone. People were freaking out. It was one of the best scenes. Yeah. So I mean, all of that has evolved, which is really cool. And it's going to be awesome for us to kind of experience that, for you to dive back into it over the next however long we do this. So
I mean, it's going to be exciting, man. And I think if we can help other people unearth those things, especially if you're kind of like us, we're like, oh, I had to go do a career and sort of family, and I want to get back into it. Maybe we can give some insights into it. But the biggest thing is not only what happens with esports from back in the day, now it's in college level, man. We think you think Kentucky has an entire esports team, and just rigs that. You want to know why you couldn't get your video card a couple of months ago? Because in the University of Kentucky took all just the entire. I mean, it was just an ocean of just nice gaming PCs, the RGB lights coming out of everything. But so we'll dive into that, explore those, and explore our weekly pop culture references, maybe some viral moments, and just have a good time.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
Sweet. Well, that's it. First episode of Joystick Maverick. I'm your host, Ernie Hawkins, aka Ernie UXD on social.
And I am Dom Ervin, aka El Dizza on social.
Thanks.
Take it easy.
Peace, guys.